you ever play bebop lines and you just feel like your hands are getting tied into knots? Well, bebop was really created by saxophonists. A lot of the melodies that we play were written by Charlie Parker, Sonny Stitt, Sonny Rollins, and so when we go to play a lot of these melodies, sometimes we can feel like we're trying to put a square in a round hole and our fingers just don't really know what to do. So in this video, we're going to be breaking down a classic bebop melody, Anthropology by Charlie Parker, and I'm going to be showing you some fingering principles that you can use to make better fingering choices, make it so that you can actually have those fingerings be muscle memory over time, so that you can get to playing the way that you really want, being able to be more free when you are improvising at the piano. So let's go ahead and get into it. So the first thing I recommend when you're just starting to learn some bebop melodies is, even though we talk about wanting to learn melodies by ear and doing things away from the lead sheet if you can, for bebop melodies, I would definitely recommend learning them off of the lead sheet. And the reason why that is that we can write down the fingerings that we can use, we can practice them, and then we can develop muscle memory as we're practicing these phrases. So go ahead, if you have your real book nearby, get a pencil and get ready to write in fingerings that we're going to practice together. That will be really helpful. So the first thing I would recommend is don't try to play through the whole thing all at once. What I want you to do is think about each of these phrases, basically everything between a rest from like here to here. Think of that as a little exercise that you are going to learn. And usually this melody has an F that comes right before it. So it usually has a pickup. So we're going to be thinking about having one of these phrases as a little puzzle that you're going to solve. And I'm going to show you what you can do as you work on each phrase, how you can find fingerings that are going to be easier on your hands so that you don't feel like you're tying yourself into knots. So for this first phrase, the thing that I want to do first is look for the top notes of the phrases and for the bottom notes of the phrases. One reason that we want to do this is that the top notes of the phrases, we often are going to want to use our fifth finger for these for the top note of the phrases, and then we're going to want to use our thumb for the bottom notes of the phrases, if possible. And that'll avoid some of the tying of knots of your hands so that you can play these a little bit more easily. So for this first one, I'd recommend starting this pickup, which isn't listed in the lead sheet, but is, I guess, listed here in the first ending, actually. But usually the tune starts with this F. And so what I'm going to do first is I'm going to put my destinations into my fingering first. So I've got the bottom note that I want to be on finger number 1, which is thumb, and then finger number 5 I want to put on the top note of the phrase. And then everything else in between, it may depend on your hands. So you may decide that maybe your hands are a lot bigger than mine or a little bit smaller. I have fairly average sized hands. So I'm looking at my first note, I'm looking at my ending note, and I'm finding the best way to navigate these fingers. So here I have a few different options. When I go from 1, when I go to the B flat, I can go to basically either 2 or 3. And for me, I chose to go to 2 because that means I can shift my hand up a little bit and be a little bit more comfortable for the end of the phrase, right? So I'm going 1, 2, 4, 3, 2, and I'll write that in. And then you definitely could do 5 here, but I want to get my fifth finger ready for that F. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 4, 3, 2, 4. So I'm going to put in 4 here. And then personally, I like going 4, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to go 4, 3, 4, 5. Right? And that right there is the answer to the little puzzle that we found. And once again, you may have a different answer that you like, but we want to take each of these little phrases and find the most comfortable fingering. And once again, the principles that we're looking for are we want to put the thumb at the bottom of the phrase if it spans a large portion of, in this case, it's an entire octave. Right? And then we want to put the pinky on the top of the phrase. Another thing we want to watch out for is that sometimes pianists will have the tendency to cross under more than they need to. So like you might be tempted to go like, and then go thumb, and then something like that. The only issue there is that now my hand is in a completely different spot. So now if I want to play the next phrase, I have to move my hand all the way back down if I want to stay in the same position. So that first phrase, right? I'm trying to avoid using my thumb to reposition. It's definitely not a bad thing, but we want to use our thumb when we want to reposition. If we don't want to reposition, we probably shouldn't use our thumb. So once again, that's one phrase, and we're going to continue doing this for the rest of the phrases in the song. But we want to get this phrase comfortable to where if someone called this, we could play it in time. Right? In a way that we like the way it sounds, we like the articulation, and then later we're going to stick these all together. So let's continue on. I'll go a little bit faster with these, but once again, every rest that we have is an opportunity to lift our hand and to reset. So that's another reason why we're practicing these separately. So, right, the next one, I can keep my hand in the same spot and just go 4, 5, 4. Right? So I'm going to do 4, 5, 4. And now I have a new phrase that's a bit of a longer phrase, but it doesn't span that many notes. It's the highest note. Once again, we want to find our highest note, which in this case is the E flat. And then our lowest note is this G down here. And so here I'm going to put 5, and we can always change it, but for right now, I'm going to put 5 on the top note and then thumb on the bottom note, right? And if I put 5 on the E flat, it means it's very easy to put, if I keep my hand in one position, I can easily put the D with 4th finger. And just by putting my hand in a close position, meaning that all of my fingers are in steps from one another, I already have 5 notes at my disposal. So I can go like this. And then I'm just going to reach down one note with my thumb. And here I can either shift down and go 1, 3, 2 at the end of the line, or I could go 1, 2 thumb. But so those are just some different options. Once again, this isn't an exact science, but once again, we're looking for these landmarks that we can look for and some principles to follow when we're choosing our piano fingerings. So 4, 5, 4, 3, 1, 2, 4, 3, 1, 3, 2. And you can even just practice up until there. You could just take it in small chunks. And an important thing here is that we want to use the same fingerings every time. This is another reason why we want to have the lead sheet in front of us, writing out the fingerings. We may not always need to write out every single finger, but it's important to have something that we can reference to see what fingerings we practiced, because if we want to develop muscle memory, be able to play these quicker, eventually be able to improvise lines like this, we want to be able to get the muscle memory with dealing with melodies that are like this. So going on, once again, we have this little, I guess that's 5 notes. I'm just going to go 2, 1, 2, 4, 2. I'm really thinking about getting ready for this E natural. So I'm going to put 5 on the E natural. And I'm just going to go up this 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? Right? And I'm going to continue on with the first ending. And I'm going to try to consider everything from this B natural to the F as one phrase under the hand. So once again, I'm looking for the tops of the phrases that I want to have with my 5th finger. And then I'm looking for the bottoms of the phrases that I'm going to have for my thumb. And then I'm filling the rest in. My 4th finger ends up being on that F sharp, so I'm going to go ahead and use that. I'm going to use 5 on the G. And then for my hand, I like 5, 3, 2, 1. And then what's better, 4/4/5 or 3/5? I think 3/5 is better for my hand, but you might find a different solution for you. So let me go ahead and play this first A, and we're going to see how this is. Again, it's going to take you some time to practice each phrase individually and then put it together, but here's what we have so far. Alright, so I followed exactly the fingerings that I had written, and then of course we would repeat and do the same fingerings, and this is a little bit tricky because now the fingering that we had before going into the second ending may not work. So this is actually something I might have to find a different solution for. So that is pretty awkward. Again, this is something that is probably very easy on the saxophone, but is a little bit uncomfortable on the piano. So I'm deciding where I want to cross over. I don't love all the options I have, but I'm going to choose to put my thumb on this D on the second time, so that I can go 4, 5, 4, 3, 5. And for my hand, I like having the thumb on the bottom again, and then I like 3, 1, 2, 3. Right. Okay, so we have the first two A's so far, and we just need to practice getting into that second ending. Yeah, and then I'm going to cross under with the thumb, and then 4, 5, 4, 3, 5. Right, now we get into the bridge. And this one is a little bit weird because we have a lot of these chromatic notes. Now you could use your thumb to get around these, or a little trick I have is just to start with 2. So I'm going to go 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I'm just going to go into like into a D major position, 3, 4, 5, 3, 1. And then there are just 5 notes here. So once again, if we go back to our principle of taking the top note and use our 5th finger, and then the bottom note and put our thumb on it, we have, right? That just fits the hand because there's only 5 notes in that phrase, meaning 5 different notes. So 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 4, 3, 2, 1. And now I'm going to shift my hand up. Once again, top note, I'm using my 5th finger. And even though I don't have a rest, I'm going to break this up. And I'm going to put the 5 on the D. I guess I jumped ahead a little bit. So starting with 5, 5, 5, 5, 4, 2, 1. And then if I can cross over to 2 here. So 2, 4, 5, 4, 1, 3, 4. Right? Honestly, I usually play a G. I would have to check a recording to see what the correct note is there, but I usually play a G instead of an A. But I could be wrong. Yeah. So I'm going to do 5 here at the top. Once again, top of our phrase. And then I'm going to put 1 on the G, which is what I usually play. And then I'm going to close position where my hands are all in steps. And 4, 3, 2 seems pretty comfortable to me. So I'm just reaching down a little bit for the G, and then I'm just repositioning my hand a little bit, just 1 step, to get 4, 3, 2. So 5. So this is all in one position, and then I'm shifting down 1 for the end of the phrase. And now we're back to the A section, and there's a little bit difference in the way this ends, but it is, but it's very similar to what we had before. So it's just this last little phrase that's different. So I'm going to go 4, 5, 1, 4, 4, 3, 2, 3. Okay, so now we have gotten all of our little puzzles and we've solved them, and that's how I would really think about each one of these little phrases. It's a little fingering puzzle that we have to figure out, and there are always lots of options that we can do. It's not like playing the saxophone where there's only like 1, 2, maybe 3 ways to play a note. So there are a lot of options as opposed to other instruments where there's only a few choices. So now that we have solved our puzzles, so to speak, we now want to go through and practice each of them, each one by one, and then putting them together so that you can play the whole head. But before we jump into that, if you're enjoying this video and you find this helpful, go ahead and like this video and subscribe for more content like this. It'll give me an idea that I'm giving you content that you find helpful and will help me know to create more content like this in the future. So we're gonna go ahead and continue and just show you what to do once you have solved these little fingering puzzles that you have. So now we want to practice them individually. So once again, when you have all of this, the thing that you don't want to do is just go through and play the whole thing. Honestly, if you're trying to read the fingerings as you go, this is going to be very difficult. But what we want to do is internalize the fingerings so that when we play it, this is going to be just what naturally comes out. And that's how we're going to develop the fluency. It's how you're going to have it be feeling not like your hands are getting tied into knots, but that you're able to navigate a melody like this quickly and easily and play it at whatever tempo you want. So once again, we're going to tackle each of these phrases one by one, and then we're going to put them together. So once again, what I would probably do, and I won't do this just for the sake of time, I'm not going to do this all throughout, but what I would do is practice one phrase until you can play it at a tempo that you would feel happy with, playing with a bassist and a drummer. And then once you get to a tempo that you're comfortable with one individual phrase, 1, dum, ba-da, 1, bum, ba-da, and then I want to put it together with the phrase before it. So, right, and make sure you're sticking with the same fingering. Right? One. Right, so we want to work these up very slowly and get them to a tempo that you're happy with, and then start putting them together, just one phrase, 2 phrases, 3 phrases at a time, until you can do 4 measure chunks, 8 measure chunks, without feeling like you're missing the fingerings that you planned or that are comfortable for you. And then once you get entire sections down, this would be the great place to start practicing with iRealB or some sort of backing track of your choice, and seeing if you can keep track of where the form is, start playing it in time as if you were playing with the bassist and drummer. And then when you have the whole thing together, then you can play it with a bassist and drummer, go to a jam session, things like that. So the main principles here are to break things down, and then we have a few different techniques that you can use to find fingerings that actually work for the song that you're working on. So I just wanted to finish off this video by saying that bebop melodies are great, and it's really some of the foundation of jazz piano playing. However, when you are first playing jazz piano, bebop melodies can be really difficult. And so I definitely wouldn't recommend starting off with bebop melodies when you're improvising. Instead, I would recommend getting started with just learning how to improvise melodies from either diatonic melodies or just getting comfortable putting together scale fragments that you can put over chord changes. And so I actually have a course called From Lines to Melodies that you can use to accomplish that, to get comfortable with playing more melodically, playing over changes, so that you can improvise freely. And then once you have that foundation of melodic improvisation, then we want to put this language, we want to put bebop language and blues language over the top of it so that we can have the language of the jazz masters. But we definitely want to get that foundation first when we do that. So if you would like to look into that more, go ahead into the description below and find out more about From Lines to Melodies. And once again, if you enjoy this video and if you enjoy content like this, go ahead and like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.